As I stated seconds ago, this is a podcast, and the reason I always acknowledge my ancestors, the reason I say it's a podcast is because I always get a lot of people to say, "Hey, I missed your show." The reason I'm bringing that up is it's impossible to miss a podcast. A podcast plays into perpetuity. There is no end. There is no you missed it. You can always go to Spreaker.com and listen. You can go to YouTube under Built for This Network and listen. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict. You can go to Google Dot, or you can even go to Alexa and play this program and any other program that is on Built for This Network. That's why if you like what you're hearing and you have to end it at some point, and you have any of those tools, you can go to those tools and go to wherever you left off at and pick up from there, or you can start from the beginning. Again, I would appreciate if you took the time to listen to the beginning of the show after the show, because I think that is paramount in what I'm saying today. I like to thank each and every person in the chat room. I usually don't, but I'm going to do it today because I just got a text from the Accent King. But I want to thank my man Joe from Houston, Dallas, New Orleans, and Chicago. I was going to get him, but I'm not. Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. But my man Joe from Houston, I got he built for this network. I got my man Big Illinois built for this network. I got my man Jay Ron with an application. He knows what I mean. I got Moni. I got the Black Swan Experience. Please hit the follow on the Black Swan Experience. I got my man Deacon King of all accents, Dale. Please hit the follow and subscribe to their 2 channels. Excellent programming. As a matter of fact, Black Swan has a show coming on shortly after mine. If you hit follow on her, you'll be able to get a very spiritual, entertaining, embraceful show. It is a lot of peace in her show. So if you're stressed out due to this pandemic and all the things that are surrounding it, tune in to Black Swan. She does uplifting, entertaining, and then she'll be able to help you out with some of that. And I got my man Jungle Brother who just entered the building. Anybody else who comes in, I'll acknowledge you as you come in. As I was stating, if you missed the top of the show, please, pretty please, listen to the top of the show because it ties into the theme of the show today. Oh, and I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry. This has been a very, 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 very supportive and close friend for the last 28 years. Her name is Naisha. She's in the chat room as well. Sorry, Naisha. Please forgive me. Now, the reason I keep begging you guys to listen to the top of the show is because the content of Dr. Joyce DeGruy and what she was saying, and really it is how it ends. How a police officer calls in an assault or a murder or against a person from our community as no human involved and actually gives it the code for animal injured and says black male. And the thing is, we have to get out of the mindset of these are one-offs because they're not one-offs. This is something that is happening frequently. This is something that is happening way too often. And just because we're catching it on video does not mean it's not happening every once in a while. It's being caught more. It's just like anything else. If you're a criminal and you get arrested, most criminals don't get arrested the first time out. So if you are paying attention to the news and seeing all our brothers and sisters be attacked at the behest of these race soldiers calling themselves police officers or using Gestapo tactics, don't think this is new. Don't think we were past this, because it is not, and we are not, and we would probably never be past this. The reason I'm even talking about this is it was a young brother shot in his back and he's paralyzed from the waist down right in front of his children. And you're going to be shocked at what I'm going to say next. But I'm going to say it, and I mean every word of what I'm about to say. I blame most of the people. I'm not, you know what? Correction. I blame a lot of people from our community for that young man being shot. That sounds horrific. That sounds crazy to some of you guys, and I hope it does sound crazy because I want it to. but I also want this to sink in. The reason I blame my brothers and sisters for this is this. First and foremost, I was talking to my sister today. I'm gonna see if me and her gonna coordinate. I'm gonna get on the show one day. But we were talking today, and we were talking about the fact that people always say, "Why don't Black Lives Matter to Black people? Why do we only get angry when somebody else hurts us?" First and foremost, I think that might be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard any of my brothers and sisters say, and I've heard a lot of stupid stuff throughout my entire existence. First of all, the whole Black Lives Matter movement was not started for inter-community crime. It was started due to police brutality and the hurting of brothers and sisters without any penalty. So if you're going to attack a movement, at least, if you're going to attack somebody and use a movement as an example, at least understand the cause of the movement. Second, and most important, the thing is, I would assume, I'm going to make this assumption, and I think it's an accurate assumption. Most people who will hear my voice right now or ever hear it in the future, you are productive members of society. You're not doing anything nefarious. You're not hurting anybody. You are working class people, good, honest, wholesome people, by and large. So if you're reading Facebook and you allow the world, there are 40 million, 45 to 50 million people from our community that live in the United States of America, right? There are approximately, let's just say, 10,000 murders a year. Let's just say 3,000 of those people are murdered by people from our community. And that's not 10,000 people from our community are murdered. It's just 10,000 people in the country murdered. Let's just say some insane number, 3,500, 4,000 people are hurt by people who look like us. And the people who look like us are the people who are doing the hurt. You do understand 4,000 people versus 45 million means you cannot allow someone to say Black lives don't matter to Black folks. Because guess what? There are even fewer billionaires, but y'all not comparing us to all the billionaires, are y'all? And when you make these statements publicly, and when these jackasses get on the news and say these things, and anytime you ask the question around people from other cultures and you mention how angry you are at your people for doing this, they're acting crazy, this, that, and the third, and not take into consideration that this is a small representation of our community. These are some disjointed people, and they do not represent us by and large. Because guess what? Oprah doesn't represent us by and large either, because she got $4 or $5 billion. Robert Smith don't represented us. Bob Johnson and all these other millionaires and billionaires, they don't represent the working class individual who lives in an impoverished community either. But you won't let nobody paints us with a broad brush and say, hey, you're just like Malcolm X, you're just like Martin King, you're just like Medgar Evers. But the minute someone does something bad, you are willing to paint our entire community with a broad brush of ignorance. And this is why these people and the people who support them are allowed to do what the hell they want to do with us, because you are co-signing nefarious and ignorant behavior. And you are allowing people to judge us by that. Because you know what's funny? When we see the white guy go his ass up in the church and blow away 9 brothers and sisters, when we see the white guy go up in the school and blow away a bunch of people, we see the white guy at the nightclub blow away a bunch of people, when we see the guy go to the movie theater, when we see Timothy McVeigh, when we see John Gacy, when we see David Berkowitz, we do not paint the other culture with that same brush. But y'all are willing to put the actions of a very few people. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people, because you live in an impoverished neighborhood, and poverty in this country is almost it almost draws a straight line to violence and illicit behavior. But you don't do that with everybody else. Why? El Chapo is not representative of the entire Mexican community. What's his name? King David is not the leader of the Latin Kings, is not representative of the entire Puerto Rican community. But you guys will allow the dude, the gangbanger, the drive-by shooter, and these dudes to define exactly who we are, which annoys the living hell out of me. And then you wonder, why are they killing us? Because you standing around your white counterparts and your other community friends, and you saying, man, these people sound stupid. You know, like when y'all get people passes to say the N-word, and then they say it on TV and you get mad. That's what you're doing when you let, because these white nationalists, because they're not supreme to me at all. These white nationalists stand around and they get the okay from you to hurt your brothers and sisters. Is this the only reason they do it? No, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I do believe when you stand around and disrespect us by talking about family business in public, which you don't do with your own personal family. Nobody talks about your brother who'd have been to jail 50, 60 times, your sister who'd have been to jail 50, 60 times, your brother who got about 14 kids by nobody. Nobody celebrates that dude. But the moment somebody gets hurt, you lump us all in. Why don't we get lumped in with the young lady who got the full ride scholarship to Harvard at age 13, 14? Why don't we lump in all the young girls from our community to that person? Oh, we don't do that though. No, we don't do that. Because y'all willing to sacrifice our reputation to make it seem as if you're some liberal-minded or even-minded, or see, I can think fair, I can be fair. But those same people you're attempting to show that you're fair, they don't give a damn if you're fair or not. They don't give a damn if you're fair or not. Why do you think these people at the RNC can stand up there and lie and use the name Breonna Taylor, which he hasn't to do, the state's attorney hasn't even set forth prosecution for the people who murdered that sister, and use their names? Because they know that you are focused on trying to look fair and unbiased. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is protecting their own. The rest of the world is protecting their own. But you have no problem kicking one of your brothers and sisters in the head. And I hope what I'm saying is sinking in and making you think. Because it's disrespectful as hell. It's disrespectful as all hell to stand your ass around and disrespect our brothers and sisters and call them names and say what they are not, and what we do and do not do. When if you just walk outside your door, hopefully you live in the middle of the block, or walk to the middle of your block, look to one corner, look to the other corner, and see how many people, how many families of people get up and go to work every day on both sides of your street. And then if one or two of them got some kids who are not living up to their potential, then you say, damn, I just counted all these people out to prove that I'm fair and unbiased. But what are you trying to be fair and unbiased to? To a system that was designed to kick you in your behind? That's what you're trying to be fair and unbiased to? I remember, 12 years ago now, when Barack Obama was running for president. Black people were scared to say that they were voting for him because he was black. Oh no, I'm not voting for him because he's black. I like his policy. But you know what? Just about every election in the United States of America, it's because the person suits their taste. But we want to look fair. Why must you look fair to people who hate you? And I know it's some people from our community that potentially will hear this or listen currently, that the famous, not everybody goes through your head. Well, if not everybody, those people are not who I'm talking about, am I? So that wasted thought that flew through your head to potentially want to correct me. Why are you correcting people who don't need to be? Why are you addressing me or addressing me in your head with things that don't need to be addressed? If it's some good people out there who are championing our cause, those people are standing in the sideline like the brother J. Ron, applauding what I'm saying. So you